Drums, I'm going Bedoya because he's holding it together.
Oh, you know what? Call.
Welcome to amorephillyunion, the podcast where we swear to talk about the Philly Union, the whole Philly Union, and nothing but the Philly Union, with as few digressions as possible. We are your hosts. I'm Noelle.
I'm Paul.
I'm C.
And I'm E.
I think we're going to have a few extra digressions or some topics not necessarily directly related to the union here today, as it's a very special Thanksgiving episode of A More Philly Union.
The digressions are going to be the sides that is to the main
entree
that is our episode.
Look at this.
And we all know it's about the sides, baby.
So housekeeping, we've got some updates on our downloader numbers. What are we looking at this right now, E? How things?
Domestically, big shout out to California. They pretty much have moved up into second place now. At least for the month, behind Pennsylvania. So shout out to the West Coast. Thank you. And thanks for everybody for that matter. But it's just kind of fun to see. Virginia is another big one too. They often are vying for that second place slot. So thanks to those guys. Internationally, hello to Ireland.
Hey!
It seems like we're getting some consistent downloads in Ireland. So thanks very much, guys.
Someone will have to send us an email on how to say a proper thank you in Irish or something like that, or and we'll try to make our way through it. But that's terrific.
Yeah, the O'Donnell side of our family is very happy, I think.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How many downloads are we looking at?
Like now you're putting me on the spot. I think we're like in the past 2 weeks we've had about 9 downloads. So and it's been fairly consistent. So it's not just a spike of downloads and then radio silence. It's a download every day and stuff. So many thanks, Ireland.
And it's kind of interesting, just getting that little peek behind the curtain of a small podcast like this. It's actually we've grown quite a bit since we started. Maybe not quite a bit, but we have probably doubled our regular listening since the start of the season. So it's slow, but it's fun, and hopefully you guys are enjoying it, and all the listeners are enjoying it.
Yeah.
All right, but let's get to some union stuff here. We're all waiting for the semifinal matches this weekend.
Almost there.
Yes. Unions play on Saturday. They're the second of the Eastern Conference semifinals that are happening Saturday, and Western Conference semifinals will be happening on Sunday. I do like the fact that they're staging all of these these elimination playoff games on the weekends. It's nice having games on the weekends so that you can really watch them.
Yeah.
All of the fans can see it. You don't have to worry about trying to catch a game on a Wednesday that might be your team's last game.
Yeah.
The Union do have the late game, the 8:00 game, so I'm sure it'll be brisk and cold out there in Cincinnati for that game against against Cincinnati, and it's definitely looking like it's going to be a tough one. But before we get there, I guess we should welcome or recognize that today is Andre Blake's birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday!
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday! As we record.
Yeah.
To our co-captain and brick wall.
And hopefully
how old he is, but I think this is his 10th year in the season, so he's probably 33, 34.
Something like that. Yeah. Hopefully he had a good wish when he blew out his birthday candles today.
Yeah. Although it'd be interesting.
Right.
Oh, how old was that, Christy?
33.
Okay. So he's got plenty of years left
to get that MVP.
That's right. MVP. All right. Looking forward to the Union Cincinnati game. It does still look like there are 3 players flagged as out for Cincinnati, including Nick Hagelin. And Alvis Powell is still listed as questionable. And then, of course, Miazga is out from
that's
red card or yellow card accumulation. And I haven't heard if he's getting, if they ever did that investigation and found anything further about him going into the referees locker room or changing area or whatever, or if there might be anything else. So I'm assuming, since there hasn't been anything published, that he's just missing the one game.
Yeah. Maybe it was resolved quietly.
Which should be the end of Cincinnati's season. And the Union, yes, Glesnes is going to be out. He's undergoing treatment for the quote unquote core injury that he's dealing with.
Yeah.
But the good news is that Carranza is back to fully participating in practice team.
Yeah, hopefully that means the TOD is back in full force.
I can't imagine they won't roll out that front three.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be curious. I mean, depending on Carranza's match day fitness, if he'll start the game and then sub him out later if he starts petering out, or go super sub and bring him in later in the game.
Yeah.
It kind of makes sense to me to start him because you want the TOD running. Yeah.
And for those who hadn't heard the phrase TOD before, this will refer to the triangle of death, which is Ora, Carranza, and Gazdag at the top of the Union's midfield and attack.
We should update our website. Maybe we'll do it during the off season too, and just like have a glossary section of all the various
yes,
terms.
Damn it. No, but I do hope that means, that's a good sign for Carranza actually getting on the field. He's been the most dangerous out of the Union's forwards. Or just hasn't been stroking it as cleanly as he did last year and didn't end up with as many goals. Sullivan and Donovan have been dangerous. I mean, heck, Donovan got the game winner against New England. So there's some power off the bench, but I don't know that anybody would really feel comfortable seeing Sullivan or Donovan as starter if Carranza and Ora are available.
Yeah, Donovan would be an interesting start.
They're not like for like subs. That's the thing. Like Donovan is more similar to Ora than Sullivan is similar to Carranza. So if we did like an SAT analogy, it really wouldn't work for those four. But I mean, you the thing about Ora is he makes those runs the entire time he's out there.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just hard for the midfield and the backs just don't find him.
Yeah, it's disruptive. Yeah, I mean, that in itself, I think, lends a bit of strategy, whether or not he's getting to the, getting his foot on a ball or not. When he's making those running plays through those back lines, it does affect how the defending team then marks up on, the other Union players coming in.
Yeah,
it's a little bit of it's definitely a less glamorous kind of strategy. You're not going to necessarily get the goals and stuff like that, but it does have its merits.
Yep. And one other difficulty for this one, I really wouldn't think that Jim would roll out the 3-5-2 or 5-3-2 against Cincinnati, if we had all of our players healthy. But with Glesnes out, I mean, it's pretty much and Wagner missing the game. I would assume that Pat Noonan and Cincinnati are feeling comfortable just game planning for a 4-back defense from the Union, with Harriel out left and Bizo out right, and then Lowe and Elliott in the center. Because I just don't think that they're going to roll anything else out as far as defense goes.
Yeah, I got to say this. Going into this game, and anyone feel free to jump in at this point, but going into this game, the various voices and personalities out there, are saying, Cincinnati home field advantage, better record, yada yada yada, right? That they're the favorite team to win. And I am a little nervous with that back, not having Glesnes, not having Wagner. It's not the ideal defensive line I'd like to go into a semifinal game with. But I don't know. Part of me still is hopeful. We've said this before that, if the Union team if the team that shows up is that Union team that can play like the way the Union can play, we'll definitely have a great game on our hands. But we can easily, but it's reasonable. We could come out with this win.
We could,
and I'm still hopeful for that. I'm still hopeful for that. Especially with these younger players, we've seen that before. They're
too inexperienced to not know what they shouldn't know.
Exactly.
They don't know to be afraid.
Exactly. And you know what? Sometimes that is a potent. That's a potent ability.
You're very dangerous. For you, there is no tomorrow.
It's gonna take heart.
Yeah. No, and what I also find interesting about that, when you see the young guys just trying things on the field, and whether they succeed or not, that excites the veteran players. Like you see Bedoya come alive in these games when McGlynn does something that he shouldn't get away with, or Sullivan takes on two defenders and somehow gets the ball past them. And either breaks into open space behind them or finds that pass, or when Torres does a double spin move and find Carranza for that opening goal of his Union career. It's exciting because you see Gazdag step up, you see Bedoya step up, you see Martinez go in a little harder before he gets his yellow cards. So it'll be fun to see what it comes out of it, and I am hopeful. I'm not overly confident, but I'm hopeful. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, and I think we might have just found one of the other potential hazards of a long break between games, and that is hope rises. But there's nothing wrong with that as long as you can cope with it. If it goes sideways and you don't end up in a ball on Paul's floor like someone did after the final last year. So
God, that was anyway.
Let's not talk about that. No, we're not raising the specter any more than I already have. But so.
And it's going to be interesting too. I mean, it's an equal effect on both teams, right? But these long breaks of not playing. So the fact that both Cincinnati and the Union haven't played in almost 2 weeks.
By the time the game happens.
But it's true for both teams. So, if the Union are out of step a little bit, hopefully Cincinnati's out of step. And if Cincinnati's out of step, hopefully the Union just crush them.
Yeah, I'm sorry. There's pluses and minuses to all of it, right? Rested versus not ready versus, you can go back and forth all day. So it's going to be what it is. But like you said, it's the same for both. So
the other interesting thing will be with the psychology is so many people are expecting Cincinnati to win this, and Cincinnati should feel that, hosting this game, it should be theirs to lose.
It's their game to lose.
So if this game gets into the second half and it's still 0-0 or 60th minute and it's still 0-0, it will be interesting to see how Cincinnati shifts. Do they play for victory in regulation, and does that open them up to a counter attack from the Union that those quick, fast transition style attacks the Union can be so deadly with? They don't want to leave themselves open. I mean, Noonan certainly knows how the Union are going to attack. But there's also going to be a little added pressure on the Cincinnati players to make that happen. And conversely, if one of the teams should give up a goal early, like if the Union give up a goal early, does Cincinnati pack it in and just play for the 1-0 win? If the Union should somehow get up early, what does that do to the Cincinnati attack? There's lots of permutations on how this could go. But I expect to see a very defensive side. Like I almost wonder if Bueno is going to start instead of Bedoya or McGlynn. And in all honesty, I would expect McGlynn would see the bench and they'd put Bedoya, Martinez, and Bueno out there for the first 60 minutes, and then let McGlynn come on and with Sullivan to try to make some magic in the last half hour of the game. we'll see what happens there. But it's some opportunities for Jim to put some pressure on the other team.
Yeah, it's kind of like
if the Union go up first, I want them to link arms and stand in front of the goal with maybe a few guys laying on the ground and just stay there. There's no rule against that, right?
They can put Torres, they can just lift Torres up over their heads and pass him back and forth in front of the goal.
Because as previously discussed, there's no way he's 5'9", so it can be done.
You call it Operation Human Shield.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, it's an interesting point, Paul. Yeah, I didn't think about that. The more that game goes on and Cincinnati's not winning, let alone if it's a 0-0 score, that momentum is going to start to build against Cincinnati, because now, yeah, I think it'll be an interesting strategy, right? Will Curtin kind of play this kind of a war of attrition? Let's not worry about winning the first half. I mean, sure, if the opportunity presents itself, but like let Cincinnati, we got to weather their attack, because I could see Cincinnati trying to get that goal in the first half, and and it's all about just shutting down their attack, and then let that frustration kind of settle in that second half, and then maybe capitalize on it.
Because the Union is experienced. They've been to the playoffs now the last few years. This is the first time that Cincinnati is reaching the playoffs since they were founded, I believe. They were the worst team. They had the worst record in MLS for a number of years. And so, yes, they have a number of ex-Union players that have made it to the playoffs. So there is some good experience on that team, and they have, I believe they have the MVP, the league MVP on that team. So there's definitely a very high level of quality on that team. But if you put pressure on them and you can keep it on them for a good portion of this game, yeah, we could see some mental breakdowns and see if the Union can't take advantage of that. It will also be interesting, in my opinion, to see how many Sons of Ben and supporters make the trip out to Cincinnati.
I was going to say the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's not that far away, and it's Thanksgiving weekend. Yeah, don't necessarily want to be flying back on Sunday, but certainly close enough to drive. And it could be, there could be a very healthy Union representation in that in that stadium for this game.
Yeah, I mean, there's a much higher likelihood than if it were, say, Colorado, or something like that.
Yeah.
So,
wrong
conference, I know, but I'm just saying, at least it's close enough. To make the effort, if you have the time and resources to do so. So
I would love to hear a Union goal in this game and actually be able to hear the Dupe song playing from the stands. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, it'll be interesting, because Chris, you even said how you Sons of Ben and stuff were posting instructions, organizing how to get out to Cincinnati. So I'm hopeful they're rolling in with as much force as possible.
I was going to move on and just say, well, if they can't make it to the game itself, the Union are hosting an official Strike Gold watch party at Brauhaus Schmitz on Saturday, November 25th. So if you're in the area and you want to go watch the game with a bunch of other Union fanatics, that's apparently the official watch spot. I'm sure, though, that if you go to most Chicky and Pete's or some of the other regular hangs, that they'll also have the Union game on, and you'll be able to catch it and have some crab fries and enjoy the game.
Yeah, it feels nice and ceremonial. Get some crab fries.
Yep.
So this game, real quick, this is still playing with the same rules as previous games: 90 minutes and then straight to PKs, right? I think there's not going to be any extra time in this.
That's a good question. So that was the best of three. I would expect that this would go to overtime, but it's probably something worth checking on. I would expect this to go, if regulation ends tied, that we'd go into 2 15-minute overtime periods before PKs.
Yeah. I was going to say, I'll look it up right now, but you know what? I'm not going to look up right now. If you're a listener and you hear this and want to shoot us an email.
Yes, please do. We're always looking for feedback.
Yeah. Although we do have a little bit of free time this week with Thanksgiving and all that, but well, we'll see. We'll live with the mystery.
There we go. All right. So, other than preparing for this game, we do have 7 Union players that are making national team games, or would be if they didn't get yellow cards.
Our favorite Leo.
Yeah,
our second favorite Leo.
El Brujo did get a yellow card in Venezuela's last game, so he's actually not in the lineup for tonight's game that's currently going on against Peru. But the rest of them are all involved in their various national team games. So yeah, all 7 of the Union players will be back. It will be interesting to see what they learn during their times away, what experience they gather from this international play, and hopefully it serves to keep sharpening their skills and improve their gameplay, and they can bring back some of the what they've learned to the Union. All right, so as we said, the Eastern Conference Finals are Saturday, Western Conference Finals are on Sunday. And then those are the semifinals, and then the following weekend will be the conference finals. Both of them are both East and West will be playing on December 2nd, and then MLS Cup is at 3:00 on December 9th. 18 days away.
I'm interested in that Houston Kansas City semifinal. I'm kind of rooting for Houston in that one, just in that. To avenge St. Louis, but then also, Benny Olsen just at the helm of Houston. It's good to see him. Good to see him creating results in the league again.
Yeah,
I've always liked Ben Olsen.
It's 2 storied teams going after each other.
Yeah, that's true.
In the playoffs. Yeah, so it could be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
All right. Other stuff this week. The Union Shop is open on Friday for anybody who wants to get down there. And am I seeing this right? 40% off scarves and select apparel?
Yep.
And that's just at the shop down at the stadium.
Just at the shop, yeah. And they're not opening at stupid o'clock. They're opening at 10.
Good for them.
So 10 to 4. Not too long, but if you need a scarf or whatever apparel they select, it's a good day for it. So.
Yeah, it's almost wish they had next year's jerseys. You could buy them or pre-order them now. Would be nice to be able to get a hang on it or get a hand on it. But obviously, this season's not done. The Union still have a bunch of games to play, and and we'll tackle next year's jersey then. But there's definitely a lot of other options down there at the store. I wonder what else they've got on sale.
I'm trying to figure out if there's any reason to hop in the car and get down there on Friday.
That'd be something nice if you go down. Either of you.
All right. One of the popular memes that's been going around right now, and I'm sure people listening to this may have heard it, was the picture of the Philly taco.
This is just amazing.
We just felt like, with it being Thanksgiving and it's a celebration of, with a good meal with your family, to see something like that pop up, we had to bring it up here. So if you haven't seen this
is amazing.
It is a slice of Lorenzo pizza, which is 3 feet or more in diameter. It might be closer to 4 feet in diameter. So this slice is huge, and it's wrapped as a taco shell around a cheesesteak. Apparently, you can also do it like a burrito style, where you actually roll up, the cheesesteak in the triangle with the point of the triangle, and roll it up towards the crust of the
croissant style, actually.
Yeah. And this is now known as the Philly taco, which, according to legend, was founded by 2 gentlemen, probably after a late night drinking session, needing something to suck up some alcohol, going to Lorenzo and Sons Pizza down on South Street, and then going to Jim's for a cheesesteak and combining the two.
That's their chocolate and their peanut butter.
Yeah, the alternative names for this are the South Street sushi, or a turducken for drunks and stoners. So there you go.
I also found it amusing that one of the two guys who's credited as the originator is now a vegetarian.
Yes.
As I joked in our chat, I bet his cardiologist had something.
Yeah,
like that.
This is a medically induced vegetarianism.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of. It's been a long time since I've had Lorenzo. Jim Steaks is definitely one of my favorite. So I'd probably give this a try.
I would absolutely give this a try.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, apparently the key is getting from Lorenzo's to Jim's fast enough that the cheese is still hot.
That you can still fold it around
the whole unholy marriage together. So I would try it, but I don't think I'd get real far.
Jim Steaks are big enough as it is. I think if you did this, I'd have to split it with somebody. So E, if you want to go do this,
sweet Jesus,
go there, and then after that we head over to the Union shop for some Black Friday shopping.
There you go. All right, so since we're talking food, there was a social media post from the Union. Their social media team, once again, doing top-notch work, asked the players for their favorite Union food or favorite Thanksgiving Day foods. And, obviously a lot of them are not from the States. So, to greater or lesser extent, they have experience with Thanksgiving. They started with Ali, who, his first thing that he mentions was honey baked ham, which I think speaks to you a bit.
Well, I like a honey baked ham, but for me, Thanksgiving is, it's got to be turkey. I mean, I wouldn't kick ham off my plate, but you got to at least have turkey.
But I know how you like that for the Christmas holidays in particular. Yeah. But he also mentioned sweet potato casserole, which has become a favorite of mine as well.
Classic.
But I'm not a fan of the marshmallow topping because that just makes it too sweet. I prefer toasted pecans.
I agree.
Interestingly, Joe Bendick said steak.
Steak is another odd one.
Yeah, not a traditional Thanksgiving thing, but I can certainly understand it. Yeah. And if you're making it for a smaller group, or that would be a good option. Elliot called out cornbread casserole and stuffing.
That's a good call.
I don't know if that's a cornbread casserole or cornbread stuffing. It was a little hard to make out in the video, but it was interesting.
Both are good options.
A couple of others. Matt Real also said turkey, or did say turkey. Holden Trent said pumpkin pie. So there's somebody that jumps right to the end. A couple of players said mashed potatoes, including Jeremy Raffanello, after he called one of the other players basic. He said, yeah, but my favorite is mashed potatoes.
That's that's kind of basic.
Fairly basic.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
Jim Curtin, he came in with his preference was for turkey. So good, classic choice.
Diplomatic answer.
And then the video ended with, I think it was Bueno, and they asked him, and he said chicken. And I'm like, chicken's not a Thanksgiving dinner, Thanksgiving dish. And he said, okay, then French fries. So apparently Bueno is spending time at Popeyes or KFC on Thanksgiving. So somebody invite that man to the table celebration. So it was fun to see that.
Yeah. So how did we? No, I mean, I'll leave this in. I try to remember how we got into the whole thing about the band. Oh, right. Because we start talking about turkey, right? That turkey is not necessarily like the standout.
It's not the main star.
Yes, actually, let's start this over just a little bit. So maybe lead into it. So we actually started talking about what we would do or what our foods for Thanksgiving were. And I think you said that you had to have turkey, but it wasn't necessarily your favorite.
Yeah, turkey for me is not the standout star. As I said, it was the stage, which with which all the sides can showcase their strengths.
And then Paul equating that to.
I said that turkey's like the bass player of the Thanksgiving meal. Like you definitely know when they're not there, but it's not showy, it's not flashy. It does a real solid job, gives structure for the rest of it, but it lets the sides kind of trill and play and really amp up the meal. So I need it, but it's not necessarily my favorite part of it.
Yep.
So for me, turkey is the bass player.
I agree.
And then that led us down the vein of, well, who makes up the rest of the 4-piece band? So with that in mind, for me, so 4-piece band, we're talking bass, we're talking drums, we're talking lead guitar, and we're talking singer.
Yeah, let's go with that. And if you want to make a change, feel free. But that's kind of what I'm thinking.
So we're not playing Muse here. It's more, it's more Red Hot Chili Peppers and classic four-piece rock band. So yeah, I would think turkey would be my base. Mashed potatoes would be my drum. Another dish that I need to have on my plate. But a little bit more showy, a little bit more intricate. Throw in some gravy on top of that. That's like the fills that the drummer can put in there.
Okay, I'll give you that.
Then I would say, I'm not a big cranberry fan, and so I probably wouldn't go that. I'm thinking for the
Philistine.
I know, I get it. There is something to be said. The sweetness of the cranberry, the tartness of the cranberry. It's a nice counter note to the bass. So I could almost see that as a guitar note. Because now I'm thinking like, what else? What are my other dishes? You got stuffing, you got sweet potatoes, you got some sort of greens, whether that's green bean casserole or Brussels sprouts. You get corn, you get biscuits. There's a lot of carbs in Thanksgiving dinner, which is surprising because usually afterwards you're not going for a run, you're going for a nap. So again, turkey is my base, mashed potatoes being my drums. I don't know.
Do you want to keep thinking? Or
yeah, I'm going to have to think through this. What about you guys?
Chrissy, you want to jump in?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of struggling with this metaphor because I think I'm viewing it a little bit differently. But
view it how you think. Just show what your thoughts are.
I like turkey as the bass player because solid, you need it. I mean, I know everybody doesn't agree on that, but hey,
I think we're all in agreement on turkey being the bass player.
I just meant a lot. I hear more and more people saying how much they don't care for turkey, blah 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 blah. I'm perfectly fine with turkey, especially as a delivery vehicle for gravy. But I'm thinking of it as I guess this kind of tracks with the also the way I think of soccer. I'm thinking of it from like the fan perspective. So like the who's holding it together and who's sort of the out in front, and if you will, most popular as a result, broadly speaking. So for me, lead singer, Pennsylvania Dutch potato filling.
Yeah, okay.
Because that has both potatoes and bread. So you solve the whole potato or bread filling. And I know it's stuffing to most people, but if you're PA Dutch, it's filling.
You got that extra range there between the potatoes and the bread.
You got the double German carb situation happening. I had this for a second. If given my druthers, lead guitar would actually be corn pudding.
Ooh, okay.
I love corn pudding very much. And drummer for me would be not necessarily the traditional green, but Brussels sprouts.
Yeah.
Ooh, good call.
Yeah.
The roasted Brussels sprouts are a really nice addition.
And then the guy who runs on for a few songs here and there with a tambourine and then runs back off would be cranberry sauce.
Nice.
So
all right, but
I'm adding a fifth. I'm going rogue.
But is it the homemade semi-chunky style cranberry sauce, or is it the classic out of the can, no reminiscence of an actual berry in it at all?
There's only one way God intended this to be.
Okay, so some people would expect me to hate on the canned stuff because I have expressed my dislike of Spam, much to the dismay of my co-hosts. But I actually quite like it. That said, my mother makes my grandmother's cranberry sauce recipe, and it is very, very good.
Yeah,
and so I will go with that over the canned version, but I have no dislike for the canned version. Although if it is canned, I'm sorry, it has to be just straight jelly. Do not put berries in there.
Yes,
please get out of here with that nonsense. That's ridiculous. So, but that's where I'm coming from with it.
So I can finish mine up if you want.
Yeah, go ahead, finish yours.
All right, so I'm actually going to make a change. I'm gonna actually put bread stuffing in as my drummer. Again, another it's got a little bit more fun, a little bit more flavor. Whether you're making it from scratch or doing a stovetop, I make I don't throw shade on anybody who uses stovetop. It's a little salty, but at the same point, it's got a lot of flavor in there.
Oh, it sure does.
And then I would actually go with mashed potatoes as my guitarist. I'm loading up the carbs here. This is my, but it's a standout. It shines. It done well with plenty of butter, plenty of cream, a little bit of gravy. I'm happy with that as my guitarist. And then I would put sweet potatoes with the pecans as my lead singer. That's how I would structure it.
Interesting. Wow, interesting. Okay, this is going to be interesting. So we all start from the same point, the turkey as the bass player. For me, for the drums, because drums is a combination of bass and the cymbals, the higher frequencies.
Yeah.
And so for me, I'm actually going to switch it around Paul's lineup. I would put sweet potatoes with the pecans as my drummer, because the sweet potatoes give you that bass, but the pecans give you that sharp kind of experience. That's your hi-hat. That's your
and if anybody is making a sweet potato casserole of some sort, put a little nutmeg in it this year and tell me it doesn't improve it. All right, go ahead.
No, 100%.
For my turkey, and you got your bass, you got your drums.
Yeah. So I got my sweet potatoes and pecans as my drums, my turkey as my bass player, my guitar, because I'm splitting this up here in terms of the experience. I don't know what you're gonna call it, but for the guitar, I'm going cranberries for guitar.
Yeah,
because they're gonna be wailing.
If you like cranberries, that's a good place for them,
because that can stand out, right? That's that guitar solo of flavor right there with the cranberries. And I go with the jellied cranberries, like the gelatinous one, the one that still looks like a cylinder after it comes out of the can.
I really hope your mother-in-law is not listening to this. Go on.
But I will say, no, my mother-in-law, her traditional cranberry relish sauce, I don't know what you call it, that is probably my favorite one. That is my favorite non-canned cranberry. Right. And going to that desert island, I can only take one with me. It would be a hard call.
Yep.
So kudos to Nancy. She makes a mean cranberry sauce. But for my lead singer, I'm going to steal Christy's idea. I think it's great because I want a singer with range. I want the bass. I want some high notes, and I'm going with those roasted Brussels sprouts.
There you go.
So I think it'll almost like they want to do some jazz scatting, they can do it. They want to wail away, they can do it. They want some Tom Waits, they can do that too.
They want to be a smoky bacon topped soul singer, they can do that.
Versatility. And if they want to fight in a parking lot, we can do that as well.
That's right. All right. So linking this back to the union.
I am hungry, by the way.
4 players, anyone in the union history. Who's your band?
Oh, good question. Oh, man.
So I'm going to start you off. You know,
so we're gonna go with the same lineup: singer, guitar, bass, and drums.
Yeah. Same lineup. You know, as far as a metronome kind of hold down, you know, I think that I always feel like the bass and the drums, you know, they're working together as that percussion. They kind of give the band a platform to build off of. So for me, I'm going Martinez as my bass guitar. He can throw some licks in there, but you know, he's got some power. You know, he's a good, you know, structured, you know, more defensive side of it, things. But as far as the team, I would put him as my bass.
All right.
And bearing in mind that I'm still thinking of the drums, kind of more on that defensive side. You know, this one's a little hard. I'm thinking more field players. If I was thinking of a goal, you know, of putting a keeper in there, you know, I'd probably throw Blake in there as my drummer. But I'm not thinking. I'm thinking more field players. And I'm going to go with. I kind of like Danny Califf as.
We're going full cannon.
I'm going Captain Tattoo over back there. I think that he would fit in well. He looks like a bit of a rock star. You know, I would love that. I could have also have seen. I'm kicking myself. Oh well, I can't remember the other defender's name offhand. So bass would be Martinez, drums would be Califf. And my guitarist is going to be a consistent attacking threat. You know, somebody who can really work the game up the field. I'm going Latu.
Yep.
I got to go Latu. Yep. I don't necessarily think he was the most stellar of all attackers. You know, he's not going to guarantee you a finish, but you know, he's going to make those runs all game long, and he's going to find a way to put it in the net from time to time. And then as far as the lead singer, there's a couple of players that I would put in here, but just for the fun of it, I'm going to go super sub Ilsinho. Just let him go crazy up top. You know, he doesn't have to worry about the structure. He just kind of throws it in there and just has a good time. Really, really excites the crowd. Makes it fun to watch.
Yeah, I think Ilsinho definitely would be doing like scatting up there on stage. And wow, this is a tough one. That's a good lineup, Paul. That's a good lineup.
Do you have any ideas? Any players that would slot in? You know, first and easiest for you?
I was thinking when you're going through your list, gosh, now I'm like, I feel pressure or kind of pressuring myself to kind of think about the entire historic roster of this team.
Because like you could certainly just do it all current.
No. This is
because, you know, Carranza was certainly somebody I would consider as that lead singer attacking option. Gazdag, you know, Dutch Cow. What the heck was? Then there was like Valdez. Was it Jose? Carlos Valdez on defense, and you know, there's been a lot of successful players. I mean, you could even consider Wagner and some of the others. Or if you just don't have any ideas, like I don't know if Christy, if you were putting anything together.
She's making notes.
I saw her with a pen in her hand.
All right, I'll go. I'll give her some time. So yeah, I'm gonna put together a band. I might change this lineup later. Oh man. Okay. So
it can be like Menudo. We can change this up.
So for the life of me, I can never remember his name. I seriously have like a hole in my memory. He was the French player. He was on the shorter side. He was a midfielder.
Yes.
Yes. He was one of your favorites.
He was one of my favorites. I always loved it when he was out there. I just felt like he kept that midfield locked down, like just in control. So whenever he was on the field, and oh my gosh, it's like oh god, it's right there. Anyway, I would put him as my bass player, right?
So it was Barnetto and
Tranquilo Barnetto. I forgot about him.
And Dodge Cow, and then this third player whose name I'm also totally blanking on right now.
Yeah, I cannot remember him.
Any longtime Union fans listening to this are trying to like reach through their podcasts and throttle us.
Yeah, that's okay. That's all right. get at us in the comments, right?
Vincent Noguera.
What's that?
Noguera.
That's it. Vincent Noguera. Yep. I would put him as my midfielder. I'll put. What's that? I mean, I'll put him as my bass player.
Your bass, okay.
Tranquilla Barnett. I forgot about him because when you were picking your guitars, I'm like, Latu would be a good one. He's kind of like the Brian May of forwards, right? Where he's talented.
Brian Carroll. I forgot Brian Carroll.
Oh, good old BC, man. BC. He would be a good bass player. He's going to be a good bass player too. All right. Well, I already put Noguera in there.
Noguera in at bass. Okay.
So I'm gonna go with Latu as my guitar player.
Okay.
Just because he's got a nice bit of flash without being too obnoxious about it, and I kind of like my guitarists like that. That's like kind of the Brian.
So more of a Joe Walsh than an Eddie Van Halen. Okay.
Exactly. Drummer, keeping that tempo. You know what? I want to put Martinez back there.
All right.
And then for my lead singer. I know this is totally. I'm going with a 1-2-1 lineup.
Sorry, we have a lot of metaphors, and there's a lot going on.
I want like a strong, slightly intimidating, but total rock your socks off presence. I'm going with Paul Rushing.
Ooh,
Indian physio, Paul Rushing.
I see him being like a Henry Rollins, black flag, angry kind of a. He's not an angry person, but he would come across that way and as that singer. All right,
I have lost the thread. So you have Noguera on bass, and you have
Martinez on drums, Latu's guitar, and then Rushing as his lead singer.
Gotcha.
When some fan jumps up on stage, he'll escort them, air quotes, escort them back to their seats. I don't know. I'll like that. Change something later.
My God, there's so many options here. And so many people I've forgotten. Wow.
For those who are listening,
like a historical list of Union players there.
Full roster. Yeah.
I can't believe I forgot Noguera's name. He was such a good player. And
Noguera.
I remember when we won the U.S. Open Cup for the Union at one time. Put it off the crossbar against Seattle.
There's other ones like Mondragon, right?
Mondragon was fantastic.
Fantastic in that.
Even Zach McMath before he got unceremoniously replaced. I mean, granted, he got replaced by Blake, so it was definitely a step up. But I still feel bad for him. He's still playing. That's the amazing thing. McMath is still playing.
He's with Colorado, right? No,
Salt Lake.
Yeah.
He went to Colorado after us. That's why you're thinking that.
Yep.
What do you got, Christy?
No, I was just reminiscing now that I'm looking at this, but I won't go off to the topic so far. But remember this season they struggled to say Aristeguieta?
I was thinking of his name too.
Yeah.
Yes.
To the point where Ian and I just started calling him Rusty because it was easier.
And it matched his hair color.
Yeah. So I'm not differing a whole lot from you guys, but here we are. For bass, I'm going Martinez.
Okay.
Yep.
Drums, I'm going Bedoya because he's holding it together.
Oh,
good call. Good call.
Guitar, I'm going Latu.
We all did that one, I guess.
And
I hope he can play.
You're right. And lead singer because there is because of talent, popularity, and the tendency for that person to be a pretty boy, girl, or non-binary person. Brendan Aronson.
Ooh,
because he's got a little the Chalamet going on, and he's definitely got the talent. So that's what I came up with. On short notice.
Nice.
Subject to change.
Yeah, we didn't discuss that one at all. That was just throwing it out there.
We didn't play test this at all.
Yeah, we didn't.
So next time we'll have to do a 5-person made-up band, whether you call that boy band or girl band or what have you. We'll have to see about putting something like that together. All right. That was fun. Thanks for doing that.
Yeah. And if you made it this far, thanks for sticking with us.
Yeah.
Seriously.
And what are your lineups, for heaven's sake? Both what are your Thanksgiving foods? Well, and what are your players? Whether you just want to say favorites or equate them to foods or band members or whatever it would be. We'd love to know.
We should do like
so please get back to us with that. Is there anything else? Otherwise, I'll just toss everybody out.
We should do like throw it out. We'll compile. We'll do a survey and we'll compile and post the results of.
That would be great.
Of both Thanksgiving foods and your band lineup.
Yeah. So you can reach us at our website, amorephillyunion.com. So please email your ideas for your Thanksgiving food bands or your Philadelphia Union player bands to pod@amorephillyunion.com. You can reach us at X or Twitter at amorephillyu, Instagram, YouTube, Threads. We are More Philly Union. So please start pinging us with your information. We'd love to see what other people think. As always, we have a very eclectic Spotify playlist under A More Philly Union on Spotify, and you can get our podcast wherever you get yours: Google, Apple, Spotify, Amazon, whatever. Please subscribe, like, comment, help spread the word about the podcast. And especially with Thanksgiving a day or so away, we at A More Philly Union want to say an extra special thank you to all our listeners. We're so grateful to be able to spend some time every week with each other, talking about all things Union and soccer. So thank you very much, dear listeners, and we appreciate you all going on this podcast journey with us. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in for another episode of A More Philly Union. We're your hosts. I'm Paul.
I'm C.
And I'm E.
Go
Union!
Martinez got a yellow card in the Venezuela game on the 16th.
Nice. That's our Leo. That's the new sitcom starring Jose Martinez.
Honey, where's my card?
Yeah.